Welcome to 7th lecture of analog microelectronic circuits in unit 2. So we are discussing bipolar junction transistors, and in previous classes we have understood the structure, the operation. We worked on DC numericals, then we have come across small signal model of transistor, and in the just previous class we have looked at uh, early effect, and we also have seen a few numericals, right? So base width modulation, and so today we have seen the simulation in multisim also. So in today's class we will look specifically at the input and output impedance calculation of an amplifier, because we know that that is very important as far as an amplifier is considered. So before we start the input and output impedance calculation, of course it is small signal calculations. Let me just draw the small signal model of BJT by including early effect. So in one of the previous class we have written the small signal model of BJT. Then we did not consider this early effect. Now including early effect, if you draw the model, so this is your base terminal, this is your collector terminal, and this is your emitter terminal. Just to bring you that model to you. Yeah. So this is what we discussed, right? The small signal of the model, what we have discussed on the other days. Between base and emitter, you have a resistance called R pi, which is actually beta plus 1 times Re. And between collector and emitter, you have the constant, the dependent current source, which is marked as GMV pi if V pi is the voltage across R pi terminal. So I'll replicate the same model here. So this is R pi, and the voltage across this is V pi. On the collector emitter side, there is a source, current source, which is controlled by V pi, which is called as GMV pi. Now, to include the early effect, we know that that has to be included at collector emitter, between collector and emitter terminal, and that resistance is marked as R0, where R0 can be obtained by writing VA by IC dash. I hope you remember that, right? So R0 is written, R0 is obtained from the IC-VC graph, which is a slope of IC-VC graph. That is why I have drawn the model by including R0 here. So why I have given a color change is just to bring to your notice that R0 is something which I added after considering early effect, right? So this is your BJT with your collector, base, and emitter terminal. Now, if you compare with MOSFET, it is almost same except for the finite input resistance, which is here R pi. In the case of MOSFET, this is open because your input current is 0 and the input resistance is infinity. Now, there we have written it as VGS and GM-VGS. In a similar way, we have used another notation called V pi and GM-V pi. Now, so with this model in our mind, let us discuss a little more on input and output impedance of amplifiers. Even though we have discussed enough on input and output impedance in MOSFET based circuits, uh, we will look at bipolar amplifiers in this unit. Right. Now, so to start with, let me just write about input impedance. So my question to you guys, the question is, say you have an amplifier, say you have a voltage amplifier. Say an ideal voltage amplifier. So what should be the input impedance of a ideal voltage amplifier? That means an amplifier is there which which take input as a voltage signal. A voltage signal is taken as input, and that will be amplified. So what should be the ideal input impedance of a voltage amplifier? So how do we understand? Any? Can I get some response in the chat box? What should be the input impedance of an ideal voltage amplifier?
Sir, one thing.
Yes, yes, Karthik.
Can we use that V test, I test method like we
Yeah, the
generally?
method, yeah, the method is same. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll be moving to that now. Before going to that, now I just want to look at the transistor through various ports and define the impedance. Yes.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay. Yeah. So I got the response. Yeah, all of you are writing it as infinity. Now my question is, why infinity? So why it is infinity? Why not some other value? Or why do we need infinity as the input impedance of a voltage amplifier? All right. So while you guys think on that, I'll be explaining that here. So at the input of any voltage amplifier, so it must uh, actually operate as the input of any voltage amplifier. An ideal voltage amplifier should operate as a voltmeter. So what a voltmeter does? It will just sense voltage, right? As a voltmeter, it should sense voltage. That should be done without disturbing the previous stage. So if there is a source which is providing the signal, this circuit should not disturb that. Or if another previous stage is giving you the output, or another previous stage is giving you some voltage for this amplifier, then the input impedance should not actually disturb that stage, so disturbing the previous stage. So this should be our idea. Mm. All right, Manikandan, I saw your response. Yes, it is not the entire supply voltage. Generally, we call supply voltage as the power. The power, the DC power is what we generally call as supply voltage. Uh, yeah, maybe your point is correct, because the entire signal from the previous stage will be made available for the amplification. Yes, that is true. So without disturbing the previous stage. Now, uh, now what I need to think here is, so you have a voltage amplifier. Now at the input of the voltage amplifier, if the amplifier is not operating as a voltmeter, that means if that amplifier is not able to sense the voltage without disturbing the previous stage, then we need that is actually a practical issue. Yes, Manikandan, I got it. You meant the signal. Yeah. So if I want to make sure that a voltage amplifier will operate as a voltmeter by just sensing the voltage from the previous stage, then the input impedance of that amplifier should be actually equal to infinity. That is true. Ideally, it should be infinity. That is for input. Right. Now, what about output? So what should be the output impedance of a ideal voltage amplifier? Can I get some response for that? Output impedance of an ideal voltage amplifier. So how it should behave? So how the output of an ideal voltage amplifier should behave? Any responses? Chat box. You can post your responses. So an ideal voltage amplifier should actually behave as a voltage source, right? So it must behave as voltage source. So what it should do? It should actually deliver a constant signal to any load. That is the point. So whatever load you connect doesn't matter. An ideal voltage amplifier should be able to deliver a constant signal irrespective of the load. So if that has to happen, then your ideal value of output impedance should be actually equal to 0, right? But we know that in reality this may vary. In reality, your Rin of a voltage amplifier will not be equal to infinity, and R out will not be equal to 0. That means Now we have a job actually to work on and find the input and output impedance of circuits or amplifiers. Yes, Kiran, Sai Kiran, I saw it is zero output impedance. The reason is why it should be zero is because your ideal voltage amplifier should behave or should operate as a voltage source delivering a signal to any load. Whatever load you connect, it should actually operate as a voltage source by delivering a constant signal, right? But in reality, since Rn equal to infinity and R out equal to 0 is not practical in reality, since it varies from this ideal values, we have to work on and find what is input impedance and what is output impedance of any given circuit, right? So this is where I am actually introducing you the necessity of finding the input and output impedance. Even though we have done the same calculation in the case of MOSFET, there we were only concentrating on output impedance, not input impedance much, except in your common gate amplifier, right? All the other common drain, common source, and for common source region, your input impedance was infinity. So with that we did not consider. But in the case of BJT, we know that input impedance is never going to become infinity, right? So let us explore on this the input and output impedance calculation by a simple scenario. So you can just write down this: an amplifier. So one announcement I want to make, even I have done the same, I have told you the same thing before. So whenever you listen to online lectures, it is always recommended to write down what you are listening. So write down the lecture notes along with you listen. So that is actually a good practice. So that whatever you are understanding, you will make a note so that it will be easy for you to revise later and go through the concepts, right? All right. So an amplifier with a voltage gain of 10 senses a signal generated by a microphone and applies the amplifier output amplified output to a speaker. So there is an amplifier sitting between a mic and a speaker, and that amplifier is providing you a gain of 10, right? Now if the mic is modeled as a voltage source having 10 millivolt peak to peak signal with a resistance of 200 ohms, and the speaker is modeled using an 8 ohm resistance. Right. Now the question is, determine the signal sensed by amplifier if the input impedance of the amplifier is equal to 2 kilo ohm, and that is one case, and the other case is 500 ohms. If the input impedance is 2k, what is the signal sensed by the amplifier? If the input impedance is 500 ohms, what is the signal sensed? Similarly, also determine the signal delivered to speaker if The output impedance of amplifier is 10 ohms first case and 2 ohms second case. Right. So I hope you got the question. The question is giving you an amplifier, and that amplifier is placed between a microphone and a loudspeaker. So let us have a picture of that. So let us understand that we have an amplifier. We have an amplifier which is placed between a microphone. There is a microphone here and there is a speaker here. And it is given that this amplifier is giving you a gain of 10. So this is mic and this is speaker, and this is the amplifier, right? So just now we saw that for an amplifier, for an ideal voltage amplifier, for a voltage amplifier, input impedance will be infinite, should be infinity, and output impedance should be 0. But in practical case, that will not happen. There will be some values. So input impedance will not be equal to infinity. It will be lesser than that. Output impedance will not be equal to 0. Definitely there will be positive resistance value, right? So to analyze this question, so the question is, so how the signal sensed by the amplifier varies if amplifier is providing a finite input resistance, and how the signal delivered to the speaker varies if your amplifier is providing a finite output resistance, right? Two more things are given. A mic can be modeled as a voltage source providing a 10 millivolt signal with a resistance of 200 ohm. Probably we can model it as a peak voltage, say V peak, uh, a voltage, just I am giving the voltage as V mic, and a series resistance of this is actually equal to 200 ohms. This is the model of the microphone, right? Now this V mic is 10 millivolt peak to peak. Now speaker is modeled as a resistance of 8 ohms. So this is the model of a speaker. So in between we have this amplifier sitting, right? Now, so how will we proceed? So the main idea is actually to understand whenever finite resistance comes in, how it will actually affect the performance. The basic idea of amplifier is actually to amplify signal. So now ideally this should be kept open, right? This should be infinity. And here, voltage amplifier is something which provides an infinite input impedance, right? And output, it should actually act as a how it should act, it should act as a voltage source. Probably I can draw like this, which this should actually act as a voltage source. Say this is providing some constant signal, which is not a DC voltage, but it is actually providing a constant signal, say V amp, with zero output resistance. This is what ideally we are expecting. Any doubts on this? Any doubts? Can I get few response in the chat box? Are you guys with me? So this is how I am actually modeling this is my amplifier. So all right, can I get few more response from others? No doubts. Okay, so this is how an ideal amplifier should look like. But now what happens? Now you have this is V mic, this is the signal resistance of the source or the mic, and now the transistor is not having an infinite input impedance, but is having some value. So let me mark that as some input impedance, right? So let that input impedance be marked as Rin. Ideally Rin should be infinity, right? On the other side, this should act as a voltage source which is providing some voltage, say I am calling it as V amp, and this is the output resistance of the amplifier, right? And this is connected to an 8 ohm speaker. right? So practical amplifier is looking like this. So whatever I am marked, this is a practical amplifier. I hope this is clear. Now the question is very simple. Calculate the signal delivered, signal sensed by the amplifier. So what is the signal sensed here? What is signal sensed by the amplifier is actually across the input resistance, and what is the signal delivered at the output. So this is actually V out, right? So how to find that? So let me mark this as the signal sensed by the amplifier is across Rin, and let me mark this voltage as the voltage of the amplifier. No, that is not V amp. V amp will be with a gain of 10, right? So this I will write it as the input voltage V in. So how can I write V in? V in is equal to V mic into Rin divided by Rin plus 200. Now given that Rin is 2K in one case and 500 ohms in other case, can you substitute Rin value as 2K and 500 ohms, and can you tell me what will be V in? So V in is equal to dash when your Rin is 2K, and V in is equal to dash when your Rin is equal to 500 ohms. So your answers will be in terms of V mic. You can just put it as V mic. I hope this is clear. The voltage available across the resistance will be, since if the ideal voltage amplifier, then your Rin will be infinity. Then the entire V mic will be available at the input. That is what I probably Manikandan was telling before. So entire V mic will be available across will be available. But since you have a resistance, finite resistance, your V mic will be divided, and you will get actually a lesser voltage. So can I get the answers for V in? V mic into Rin by Rin plus 200. So when your Rin is 2K, what is V in? And when your Rin is 500 ohms, what is V in? Can I get response in the chat box? All right. Peak, and the other one is 9.1. So when your Rin is 2K, probably your V in is equal to 9.1, right? Yes, 9.1 volts. And when your Rin is 500, your V in is, yes, 900 millivolt. Yes, right. It is peak to peak. Yes, 9.1 millivolts peak to peak. And when your Rin is 500 ohms, output is equal to. So what is the output? I think it should be. Is it 4.54, Abhirami? Can you check once? Uh, 10 into 500 divided by 700. 5 by 7 into 10. Yes. 7 point. All right, 7.1. Yes, 7.1 millivolt. It is peak to peak only, right? It is peak to, because the input signal what I have taken is 10 millivolt peak to peak, right? So 10 milli peak to peak into 500 divided by 700. Yes. Okay. So what you can see here is V mic was 10 millivolt peak to peak, right? But when your Rin was 2K, your the voltage available at the input of the amplifier is 9.1, which is close to 10. But when your Rin was less, the voltage available to the input is only 7.1. So that you can see that some percentage of your original input signal is lost because of the finite input impedance of amplifier. That means for a voltage amplifier, always what is recommended? High input impedance is recommended. Right? I hope that is clear for you. Now let us do the second thing. Determine the signal delivered to the speaker if R out is 10 ohms and R out is 2 ohms. Right. So let me write what is V out. So V out can be written as Vm into 8 ohms into 8 ohms divided by 8 ohms plus R out. So we can write V out as V out is equal to, probably you can write in terms of Vm, or you can take the gain as 10. So 10 into the input signal voltage. So let us leave it as Vm itself. So Vm into 8 divided by, one case is R out is 10 ohms, another case is 2. So 8 divided by 18 is 1, and the second case is Vm into 8 divided by 10, because R out in the second case is 2, right? So this is when your R out is 10, and this is when your R out is equal to 2. So it is very clear from here, you can deliver maximum voltage to the output when your output impedance is low, because here you can almost get 0.8 of Vm, but here you will get still lesser. So for an ideal voltage, for a voltage amplifier, R out should be as low as possible, right? So why we have done this is, we understood for an amplifier, input and output impedance as important parameters, and ideally the values are infinity and 0 for input and output, but practically that will not happen. And what we have done with this example is, we just saw the effect of finite input impedance and finite output impedance of an amplifier, right? So to calculate input impedance, what we do is, to calculate input impedance, we have to, as Karthik asked, say if this is your circuit, what you have to do is, you have to connect actually a test voltage, which is a AC source V test, and we have to, that will give you I test as the current. Now your R in input impedance is actually V test divided by I test, right, at the input side. Now for output impedance, we have to follow the same procedure what we have done for MOSFET. So in all these calculations, we know that all the DC sources should be replaced by, replaced using a zero potential, because there are no changing things in that. Now for output impedance calculation, if there is a source connected, all the independent sources should be shorted, and all the independent current sources should be made open. So symbolically, how we will represent this, if this is a circuit, if there is an input signal connected, we have to short that, we have to replace that using a short, and then at the output we have to connect a test voltage and measure V test by I test, that will give you R out. Now, as I explained before, why we are shorting the other sources is just to avoid the influence of any other sources on the output impedance. So when we do output impedance calculation, it is purely measured based on whatever source we are connecting at the output. So to nullify the effect of all the other sources, the influence of all the other sources, we are actually shorting it. This is what we do. Right. So with this intro, let us go to some rapid simplification methods, similar as we have done for MOSFET. So we will look at few cases and we'll see how input and output impedance are measured. Right. So let me give this to you. Say you have a BJT. Right, this is a BJT, this is connected to VCC, this is, say this is connected to RC. Now the question is, you are asked to find the impedance seen from here, which is R in. Say this is Q1. This is case 1. So the question is, you are supposed to find the input impedance of this circuit. So you can work out, and after that you can post the answers when I ask. All right, so one more thing, what we will assume is, we will assume that the transistor is actually operating in active region, forward active region, right. Even the small signal model what we have drawn here is for forward active model, right. It is active region only, we specify it as forward active because there is something called as reverse active region, right. Emitter based junction will be forward biased here and collector based junction will be reverse biased. Akram, are you there? Hello, Akram. Okay, Akram is not there.
Yes, sir, I'm there, sir.
Oh, yes. Okay. Akram, can you tell me how to calculate the input impedance? So, see, whenever I write it as input impedance, what we are measuring is a small signal input impedance. I hope that is clear. Yes, Akram, go ahead.
Yeah. Sir, I'm solving actually.
All right. Okay. Okay. Take your time. Yeah, please do. And then come back. I'll give you 2 minutes. Yes, Akram. So, did you get the answer?
No, sir.
No. Okay. 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 Let me explain that now. So, any answers for this? So, I am not asking you to get the numerical value. It is only the input impedance calculation. Yes. So, what? Yeah, I'm seeing the answers here. Yes. So, how you have to do is you have to actually replace the transistor using its equivalent model, right? So I know for input impedance calculation, as I told here, I have to connect a test voltage and measure what is V test by I test. So before that, I'll replace transistor using its equivalent. So transistor's equivalent can be drawn as there is an R pi here, right? There is an R pi, and here there should be a GM V pi. Measuring this as V pi. So this is important to mark that value is very, very important. Now, at the output, so there is no mention of early voltage, so I'm just neglecting it. So since if early voltage is not mentioned, then you can consider, you can leave the R naught, no need to consider R naught. But we know at this point, you have an RC connected to VCC, that means an RC should be connected to ground. This is RC. Anyway, emitter point is grounded. So, okay. So let me do the other connections with a different color so that we will understand that this is what we are working on here. So this is RC. Now emitter is ground. Now to find input impedance, I have actually to connect a test voltage here. I'll mark it as V test and this as I test. So even without marking this, we can directly look at the model and say that the input impedance is R pi. But still, as a procedure, when we do this, your V test is same as V pi, right? So your V test by I test can be written as R pi. So what is R pi? R pi is Re into beta plus 1. Right. So this is what is R pi, or R pi can be written as all right. Yes. Okay. Now, any doubts on this? Any doubts on this calculation? It is R pi. I hope this is clear. Now, if that is the case, let me give you one another question. If you have doubts, you can check with me after some time. So here what I will do is I have taken a transistor, source is grounded to, sorry, emitter is grounded to base, some voltage is given. Now you are asked to find the impedance seen from this side, R out. Right. So again, assume that transistor is in forward active mode and include early effect also. So what is the output resistance for this R out? Can I get response in the chat box? Let me bring in the small signal model of transistor. Since early voltage is, it is mentioned that early voltage has to be considered, I will add this resistance also here, which is called as R naught. Right. Now, can I get answers in the chat box? So how to find output impedance? If there is an input voltage connected, that has to be shorted. Now I am modifying the circuit, so this should be shorted to ground. Emitter is anyway ground, right? So input side should be shorted. Then I have to connect a test voltage at the output side, and I have to write it as V test, and this is I test, and I have to measure what is V test by I test. Yes, Kirtana. Yes, it is R naught. Now you can see that emitter terminal is grounded, base is also grounded. That means V pi voltage is effectively, your V pi voltage is effectively 0. If V pi is 0, your GM V pi will be open, that is also 0. That means V test by I test is equal to R naught directly from the equivalent circuit. Right. I hope this is clear. Let me take one more example where a transistor is there. Source is collector is connected to. If I am using collector base and instead of using collector base and emitter, if I am spelling it as naming it as source, drain, and gate, please pardon me. It is understood that for BJT, this is collector, this is base, and this is emitter. Right. Now the question is, what is the impedance seen from this point? Say this is, if I am measuring this is R out or whatever it is. Say I'll you can call it as R out or some resistance. So in this case, what you can do is probably you can neglect early effect. So do without early effect. Later, we can include early effect. So to find output impedance, what you have to do is short the input, connect a test voltage, and do the calculations. So if you are getting answers, please post in the chat box.
So could you show the previous page once?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. All right. Now the question what I'm asking is this. Collector is connected to VCC. The base you have Vin, and emitter, from emitter what is the, looking at emitter what is the resistance. Please calculate and post your answers in the chat box. Yes, Krishna Pratik, you got answer as 1 by GM. All right. R pi, okay. Okay, keep on posting the answers. We'll see.
In this question, right?
Yes.
Suppose like you neglect the early effect, so the resistance would be infinity.
Oh, is it infinity?
No. Like for the previous, the page you
Oh,
are on.
this one. Okay, this one. Okay, yeah.
So suppose no early effect, so you have no RO. So that
Yes,
means the
yes,
resistance would be infinity.
yes, right. Okay, infinity R E R pi 1 by gm parallel to R pi, 1 by gm parallel to R pi. Okay, okay. Many of most of you are getting some answers. Okay, let us see. So how to do this? So in order to calculate, I am just keeping the small signal equivalent circuit, and since in the question it is mentioned that you can neglect R naught for a while, I am neglecting. So this is across R pi you have a voltage V pi. Now what I should do here is, collector is connected to VCC, that means collector should be grounded. Base is connected to Vin, that means base also should be grounded. Now to emitter I have to apply a test voltage. I'll call it as V test and this as I test. Right. Now I have to, so I can see that I test is, I have to measure what is V test by I test, and that will give you the input impedance, sorry, the impedance from the emitter. Right. Now one thing you can observe, V pi is measured from ground to the emitter node, but V test is measured from emitter node to ground. So a similar way we have actually done in common source in the MOSFET amplifiers also. The first observation is my V test is equal to minus V pi, or V pi and V test are actually opposite. Values are actually opposite. Now let me apply a KCL at this node. So one incoming current, this current incoming from here is GMV pi, and the current actually flowing from here, which is V pi divided by R pi. You can see that the current flowing down is V pi divided by R pi, and the current from this direction is actually I test. So let me write a KCL there. So I can write it as GMV pi plus V pi by R pi plus I test is equal to 0. Right. Now I know how to write V pi in terms of V test. It will be minus. So minus GM V test minus V test by R pi equal to, I'll take this to the other side, minus of I test. Right. So I can cancel the minus and I can write V test by I test as 1 by Gm plus 1 by R pi, which is same as R pi parallel to 1 by Gm. Right. Now one thing you can see here is, okay, yeah, it is R pi parallel to 1 by Gm, but this can be written very close to 1 by Gm, because your R pi value, or R pi value is typically large compared to 1 by Gm value. So you can write this as approximately equal to 1 by Gm. Right, your R out is actually close to 1 by Gm. So why I have done these three calculations here is just to summarize the rapid simplification methods. Right. So if you have a transistor where source is grounded and to drain, say something is connected. Now looking into base, the resistance seen is actually R pi that we have seen. Similarly, if you have a transistor, when you're looking from collector, the resistance seen is R naught. Right. So I have marked it as ground. It is suitably, so it may be directly ground. It may be a ground for AC signals also. So you have to see in either ways. Now, and the third case is, say, this is grounded So this is connected to, it can be connected to ground directly if it is VCC as our third case. Now looking from here, this is 1 by GM if we neglect early effect. With early effect, we can say that will be coming in parallel. Okay, so how is that possible? Because you can see that here R naught will actually come between emitter and this node ground collector, right? So whatever resistance we are evaluating now, the R naught will be coming in parallel. So you can directly write as 1 by GM parallel to R naught. So by neglecting early effect, this is the case, right? So this is almost as same as MOSFET. The only difference is in the case of MOSFET, looking at gate or looking at gate the resistance as infinity, and then you have the other cases. Now let me write the other two more cases also, so that you can find the resistance to make the rapid simplification complete. Right. So these two also we need to do. Let us do that. Okay, this you can find between these two terminals. What is the resistance you can find for a diode connected one, and the other one, this one we will actually calculate. All right. So this will be okay. So these are the rapid simplification methods. The other two we will do. So I would ask you to try to find for this, for a diode connected structure, what will be the resistance that you can try. Okay, so with this, I am actually winding up today's class, and we will continue next day with the rest of the small signal parameter calculation. So thank you so much for joining. I can actually open now for discussion.